we evolved. The first step toward working with the hindrances skillfully is to understand the purposes they ordinarily serve. Second, you will cultivate 5 meditation factors: directed attention, sustained attention, meditative joy, pleasure, happiness, and unification of mind. Each of these acts as an antidote to one or more of the hindrances and contributes to a key goal of meditation: purifying the mind of these powerful facets of our biological programming and of their negative influences. We discuss the 5 meditation factors in depth later in the book. Make no mistake, overcoming these hindrances won't deprive you of the ability to survive and care for yourself. In fact, it's just the opposite. We have evolved other abilities, such as intelligence and cooperation, which fulfill the same needs more effectively and with fewer problems. As you stop relying on this once useful but now outdated programming, you will be more fully awake, better able to make clear-headed decisions, and take the appropriate actions. You will also come to realize that these hindrances are the basis for the stories and melodramas the mind concocts. Examples of stories rooted in worldly desire include "I need a beautiful house" and "I want a successful career so I can be happy." Examples of stories rooted in aversion include "I hate rude people. It's not fair that they always get what they want. I don't want to be sick today." Or "I can't take this place anymore." Examples of stories arising from laziness and lethargy include "I'm too tired to help you right now," and "It's too late," or "A waste of time to try to finish that project." Examples of stories tied to the agitation due to worry and remorse include "What if I get caught? I'm ashamed of behaving that way, and I'm afraid." There are also self-defeating stories steeped in doubt, such as "I can't meditate," "I'm too clumsy to play," and "I'm not good enough, smart enough, fast enough," and so on. These are the stories that largely define our lives. But through meditation, we can question and eventually move beyond the narratives that hold us back. Familiarize yourself with the hindrances and their antidotes and learn to recognize them, not only in meditation, but in daily life as well. Your effort will pay off. 1. Worldly desire. Worldly desire, sometimes called sense desire, is when we pursue, delight in, and cling to the pleasures of material existence. This also means desiring to avoid their opposites. These desires include gaining material objects and preventing their loss, having pleasurable experiences and avoiding pain, achieving fame, power, and influence while avoiding infamy and impotence, and attaining the love and admiration of others while avoiding hatred and blame. In Buddhism, these are sometimes referred to as the 8 worldly dharmas. Here's an easy formula to help you remember them. Gain, loss, pleasure, pain, fame, obscurity, and praise, blank. This kind of desire is so fundamental a part of our biological programming that you may have never asked yourself why it exists, or questioned the effects it has, and whether you'd be better off without it. Worldly desire evolved because in the natural world, we have to strive for the resources we need to survive and reproduce. And that takes effort and motivation. We're programmed from birth to take pleasure in, desire, and pursue the very things and experiences that help us stay healthy, get a mate, and provide for our offspring. And we're social animals, so we take pleasure in and crave acceptance, status, and power, because they're important to our survival and reproduction as well. The innate predisposition to desire whatever brings pleasure has made humans very successful.
Keep us covered, Captain. We're landing on your position.
Yet when it comes to the effects of desire on your life, consider that the world has changed since these desires first evolved. Sex, food, especially high-calorie, fatty, sugary, and salty foods, and labor-saving devices are far more available today. Unrestrained desire leads
Then
not
we need
only
an
to
orbital strike.
overconsumption
Where are your
and
macro
health and
binoculars?
relationship
When we fell
difficulties,
back to this position,
but
the
many
Binocs
other
got left
issues
behind.
that get revealed through meditation as
Trev and I
well.
will get them. Stay here and lay
That
down
said,
cover fire.
meditation doesn't involve repressing worldly desires. It gives us direct, experiential insight into the many ways that desire leads to pain and anxiety. This insight frees us from being ruled by desire, so we can cultivate its opposite instead,
Commander, the Binocs are close.
non-grasping and equanimity. Our new motivations will come from a place of generosity, loving kindness, and
Found
shared
'em.
joy.
Triv, patch me
We
into
will
the fleet.
discuss these positive qualities in later chapters. Worldly desire is so deeply embedded in
This
us
is
that
Inferno
you may have
Squad
trouble
calling
imagining
Starhawk
how we
Command,
could live
requesting
without
an
it.
orbital strike.
However, as intelligent
Command,
beings,
Inferno, you are
we
go
no
for
longer
orbital.
need
Paint
to
your
be
target
driven
and
by
remain
compulsive desire in order to take care of ourselves. We can act effectively from a foundation of reason and equanimity. Furthermore, generosity, loving kindness, and sympathetic joy will only serve to enhance the survival of social beings like ourselves. Nor does eliminating desire lessen our experience of pleasure and happiness. Free from craving and filled with love, we become more fully present for positive experiences of every kind. The practices in this book will make you more aware of desire and give you many opportunities to practice abandonment. Unification of mind is the meditation factor that specifically opposes and is opposed by the hindrance of worldly desire. As the mind becomes unified, worldly desire weakens and eventually disappears, not only during meditation, but from daily life as well. Experienced firsthand, this is an extraordinary transformation. You don't grow stoic, indifferent to pleasure, or lose your motivation, but rather are filled with joy, calm, and contentment. A unified and blissful mind, in other words, has no reason to chase worldly desire. You will live a more dynamic life, not constrained by craving, and you will be open to many more possibilities.
We won't last much longer.
2. Aversion.
Commander,
Aversion,
the walker.
sometimes called ill will, is a negative mental state involving resentment. Its most extreme form is hatred, with the intent to harm or destroy. But any compulsion to get rid of or avoid unpleasantness, no matter how subtle,
We need
is
that orbital
aversion.
strike.
Dissatisfaction and resentment, most forms of criticism, and even self-accusation, impatience, and boredom are forms of aversion. As with the other hindrances, aversion has been helpful for human survival. In the same way that we're programmed to take pleasure in and desire anything that supports our continued existence, we're programmed to experience displeasure and aversion
This is Inferno
toward what is
Squad calling
potentially
Starhawk
harmful.
Command, requesting an orbital
Aversion motivates us to avoid
Starhawk
or
Command,
eliminate
Inferno,
what is
you are go
unpleasant.
for orbital. Paint your target and we'll
Aversion
raise fire.
hinders meditation in several ways. For instance, thoughts about someone we don't like, a dreaded future obligation, or regrets about the past easily become distractions during meditation. Judgment and impatience about our practice undermine our motivation and encourage doubt. In the later stages, subtle, unconscious traces of aversion can keep mental and physical pliancy from developing and prevent the meditation factor of pleasure, happiness from arising. Just as aversion opposes mental happiness and physical pleasure, the meditation factor of pleasure, happiness opposes aversion. Pleasure, happiness counters aversion by making negative states of mind impossible to hold on to, although they can return full force afterward. Simply put, there's little, if any, room for negativity in a mind filled with bliss. This is one of the reasons it's crucial to always seek out pleasurable feelings and encourage positive mental states during
Walkers are
practice.
still coming.
You will learn to recognize aversion, replacing it with equanimity, acceptance, and patience. As these become your new predispositions, anger, cold-heartedness, and harmfulness are replaced by loving kindness, compassion, and harmlessness. You'll be astonished at the profound transformation as aversion disappears from your daily life. 3. Laziness and lethargy. Laziness mostly appears as procrastination. Its counterpart, lethargy, is a tendency toward inactivity, rest, and ultimately sleep. Both involve a lack of energy. Each causes different problems, but together they form a powerful hindrance. When we lack motivation, laziness and lethargy arise and keep us from making enough effort. Laziness is being resistant to doing some particular activity. Laziness is usually thought of as something negative, but it serves a purpose. It keeps us from spending time and energy on unnecessary, unproductive, or unpleasant activities. That time and energy can then be used for activities that contribute to happiness, survival, and reproductive success. Laziness also motivates us to use our skills and intelligence to come up with easier ways of doing things. Laziness arises when the cost of an activity seems to outweigh the benefit.
Commander, the walkers!
Lethargy arises when there appears to be nothing interesting, exciting, or potentially rewarding going on. This also serves a purpose. Our body and mind need time to rest and recuperate.
We need that armor!
Rest is a better use of time than engaging in unproductive activity.
Enemy sighted!
Like laziness, lethargy is an evolutionary adaptation for conserving time and energy. The essence of lethargy is a progressive, involuntary loss of mental energy. The longer it continues, the harder it is to halt this downward slide. There are two antidotes for laziness and lethargy. The first is to motivate yourself by thinking about future rewards. This means weighing the costs against the benefits in a rational and intelligent way, rather than just trusting your emotions. For instance, whenever you have trouble bringing yourself to meditate, you can recall all the benefits that will come if you keep practicing. So, to deal with laziness, you need to muster enough motivation to actually begin the task you want to complete. Dealing with lethargy means having enough motivation to complete the task, rather than quitting or falling asleep. The second antidote is to just do it. This means that you plunge in, despite resistance, and then engage with the task fully. This works well against laziness because the power of laziness lies in procrastination.
Barrage, here.
Before we start an activity, we can question its value and suggest alternatives that seem more appealing. Laziness makes it hard to start a task. But once we start, it's easier to continue.
Fire, here.
If we get interrupted, though, laziness can return and make restarting difficult.
One more.
In any
that walker is
case,
done
since
for.
laziness often fades when we begin a task, just doing the task is the antidote. Engaging fully with a task also works against lethargy by re-energizing the mind. But how effective this is depends on how quickly we recognize the onset of lethargy. The meditation factor of directed attention opposes laziness and lethargy, and vice versa. This hindrance impedes directed attention because we cannot easily direct a dull, tired, and unmotivated mind.
One
In
more, that
meditation,
walker is done for.
just doing it means you keep directing attention to the meditation object.